I'm not against unions. Some of my very good friends work for unions. They work hard and they do a good job.
I have black friends. I can't be racist, right?
I wonder who his union friends are.
Yeah, I wonder what they think about that. International president of the Teamsters International Union, Sean O'Brien, who recently won an election with the votes by like 60 to 40% with the votes of more than 100,000 Teamsters. Just a really, really fantastic thing to happen there on a reform slate with the Teamsters for a Democratic Union. He was called to as a witness into this hearing, and he got into it with one of the Republican members, Senator Markwayne Mullin from Oklahoma. And we're gonna play this and react to it because I got the whole interaction, and so there's like 5 minutes here, but I think it's all worth it. I think it's all good. So we're gonna play this and kind of stop and start as we listen to it. But let's go ahead and play that out.
Yeah, and I think this was one of the ones we were last minute throwing in here. So we'll see what happens when I press play.
Very clear. I'm not against unions. I'm not at all. Some of my very good friends work for unions. They work hard and they do a good job.
Yeah, Adam, hold on, wait. That's a good one. I have black friends. I can't be racist, right?
Yeah, that's sort of that one, isn't it? I wonder who his union friends are.
Yeah, I wonder what they think about that.
Yeah, also they're probably in management for unions.
Right.
But,
and did you this is just an aside, but the the Republicans and the Democrats both had witnesses. And one of the Republicans' witnesses was obviously like the chair, the president of the National Right to Work Committee. He is the son of a machinist union member.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Back to Mullin, right?
Mullin, yeah.
Markwayne
Mullin. His parents were so wealthy they could afford 2 first names.
But now, Jacob, I thought he started from nothing. We'll find out.
We're about to get it.
But I also want to set the record straight. All 3 of you guys have talked about employers being intimidating their employees. But you guys haven't ever spoke about when the unions try to unionize, the intimidation they have to other people that aren't wanting to unionize. You guys don't mention that. Because, see, I started with nothing. Absolutely nothing. In fact, I started below nothing. And I started growing this little plumbing company with 6 employees to now we have over 300 employees. And back in 2009, you guys tried to unionize me. My guys were making money. They were getting paid more than the union halls were paying their plumbers. Our benefits were better. But because we started bidding jobs that were union jobs and winning those, union pipe fitters decided they were going to come after us. They would show up at my house. They'd be leaning up against my trucks. I'm not afraid of a physical confrontation. In fact, sometimes I look forward to it.
I just got to say, that's interesting framing from someone who is a senator.
Yeah.
But, yeah, boo-hoo. They leaned on his trucks.
Oh,
and
no.
The below nothing, as Strom pointed out. Below nothing. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Below nothing. Now, I've met folks who came from nothing, but I don't know if I've ever met any folks who came from below nothing.
Below nothing, yeah. And it's also just a total lie.
100% lie.
Because he inherited his business from his daddy.
Kind of an insult to his daddy. Yeah, I mean, not,
honestly.
Of all the, I mean, obviously there's a lot to be upset about with his commentary. But if I'm the guy's dad, I'm wondering, like, what? You ungrateful little shit. I gave you a business. You were born into wealth and luxury, and you're acting like you had to start from nothing? From below nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, could you imagine that? Like, I don't even say, part of my story in my political development and my politicization is that, you know, my parents were just workers, but we were comfortable. And so I'm like, and I see people who did not grow up that way, and I think that they should have that. That's part of, and, you know, so in my political development, there's like a recognition of, you know, how good I had it and how much I got from the hard work of my parents. Of course, I worked hard, right? I mean, I made a 4.0, over a 4.0 in high school. I had good grades part of the way through college and then part of the way not so much. But I have a college degree. I work, and I work hard, right? But of course, a lot of it is my parents' hard work, and I recognize that. Imagine you're this, like you said, imagine you're this guy's dad, and you give him a whole business, and he's like, oh, I started from nothing. What a gross guy.
That's not my problem. But when you're doing that to my employees, and then when that didn't work, they started picketing our job site, saying, shame on Mullen.
No.
Shame on Mullen. For what? For what? Because we were paying higher wages?
I doubt it.
Yeah, we can just stop there and say that I doubt it, because we know for a fact that union members, on average, obviously it's not always the case, but on average, they make more. And we have already established that this guy is just willing to lie. He's just totally willing to lie. And so, color me skeptical. Color me skeptical that his employees at his local contracting firm made more than the union plumbers. Color me skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a statistical anomaly for his non-union employees to have had better pay and benefits. Not saying it couldn't have happened, but, you know, again, the guy inherited a business and he says he came from below nothing.
Yeah.
The guy is pretending that picketing is like, you know, a physical confrontation, leaning on his truck. So
yeah, it's our constitutional right, actually, to freedom of speech.
I don't, you know, we should probably have a constitutional right to lean on this asshole's truck too.
And in the chat, he also says wages, no idea what the benefits offered were. That's a good
interesting
point.
Yeah.
Guys, is exorbitant salaries? You talk about CEOs that are making all this money, and what do you make, Mr. O'Brien?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, I know what you make, because in 2019, your salary was, what is this, $193,000? I'm sure you got some pay raises since then.
I'm going to stop there to say that $100 and some odd $1,000. I mean, that's a very good salary. How many CEOs stop at, you know, 200K?
Right.
CEOs are making millions and multi-millions. And while as a union member, as a rank and filer, I sometimes get heartburn in terms of union management and the leaders of unions and some of the high salaries that are in place and some of the bureaucracy at the top. That's all. I understand the you know, the criticism of that. I myself can be critical of that.
But it's in a totally different world.
Right.
From situations like Carol Tomei at UPS compared to the UPS drivers. A totally different world from Jeff Bezos to Amazon warehouse workers. Just it's not even the same galaxy.
Right. I mean, and you know, if someone is the head of an organization that has thousands and thousands and thousands of members.
1.3 million.
Right. Right. Okay. And compared to how CEOs not just get paid, but the benefits they have, the stock buybacks. I mean, there is no comparison. Even the most egregious examples inside the labor movement where you have overpaid folks at the top, it's no comparison to private industry.
Yeah.
And unlike in private industry, we as members can organize and democratically do something about that. If we as members of the Teamsters or the UAW or any other organization, if we have problems with what's happening there, there is at least some capacity to change that. If I think my boss in private industry is overpaid, I don't get to vote on that.
Yeah.
I don't get to make a resolution on that. I don't get to organize and whip my votes and bring it to a meeting and do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a
And the
ranking,
average UPS driver, the feeder driver, makes $35,000 a year.
that's
and what do you bring?
That's
to the table?
inaccurate.
Hold on a second.
That's inaccurate. State
no, I've
facts.
got it right here.
State facts. That's
The
inaccurate.
average UPS feeder driver makes $35,000. If you don't know your facts, then maybe you should.
Oh,
be
I
in
know
that
them because I
position.
negotiate the
So
contract.
I say one thing to you. What do you bring for that salary?
What do I bring?
Yeah. What job have you committed, or have you started? What job have you created? One job, other than sucking the paycheck out of somebody else that you want to say that you're trying to provide because you're forcing them to pay dues? And
No,
then-
we don't force
Hold
anyone
on.
to
Senator, you've
pay
asked the
dues. You're out
question.
of line,
Let him
man.
answer
Actually,
the
I haven't,
question.
and don't tell me I'm out
You
of
are
line.
in line.
Don't tell me I'm out of line.
Well, you frame.
Don't tell me. I'm
you
making
frame.
a statement.
You
Sir,
frame the statement
you need
like
to
a
shut
tough
your
guy.
mouth
Yeah.
because you don't know
You're gonna
what
tell
you're
me to
talking
shut my
about.
mouth?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Yes, I
Tough
did.
guy. I'm not
Senator,
afraid of physical.
Senator,
You don't have
hold
to be,
it.
but don't sit there and tell me I'm out of line.
Senator, you made a statement. You asked the question.
I didn't ask you a question.
I have to stop there because that was just amusing. All of that was amusing.
Yeah.
The conclusion of Bernie finally takes his mask off because now he's ready for business. Like, okay, this shit's getting out of hand. Let me step in here. But yeah, I get so irritated with that false comparison between union executives and business executives.
Yeah, and the absolute gall to say, oh, you're sucking paychecks when that's actually literally what CEOs do. Like, that is definitionally, they are sucking the value that we create out of us, and we don't get any say. We don't get any say over that. It's totally out of our realm if we're not unionized.
Right. And the thing is, like, all of that value comes from labor.
Yeah.
Somebody literally labors to create value. And coincidentally, I think Sam Sachs brought this up when he covered it on Means Morning News, but Teamsters and all the other unions in our movement absolutely create jobs. Not just by the opportunities they create with apprenticeship programs and all that, not just by bargaining for other jobs inside their units, but by what you said earlier, the union advantage. We make more money, we have better benefits, we have more safer workplaces, and as a result, union members go out and grow the economy.
Yeah.
In a way that non-union workers cannot.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of jobs created by Teamsters and all the other unions.
You did it.
I answered the question.
You asked the question. About how
Well, it was
much money-
rhetorical.
Let him answer.
It was a rhetorical
Well,
question,
you
sir.
may think it's rhetorical.
It was
Sounded to me
rhetorical.
like a question. Let him answer the question.
I'm not yielding my time to him. So if you're going to let me keep my time, that's fine.
You'll have your time. Let him. You ask
your
a question. He has
So-
a right to answer that.
As far as my salary goes, my salary, if you follow me around, I actually look at this building. I bet you I work more hours than you do. Twice
That's-
as many
that's
hours.
impossible.
No, that's true.
Sir, you don't even know what hard work is. You
Secondly,
wanna follow my schedule,
secondly, I'll do it
please
in a
follow.
minute. Secondly, UPS feeder drivers, and you can quote Carol Tomei, who quoted this. They make $93,000 on the lower end. Some of them
said
making
feeder drivers.
$150,000.
I said feeder drivers.
Feeder drivers, tractor trailer drivers. Some of them making $150,000 per year.
Some of them do.
And
I don't
most of them
disagree with that.
most of them
After
make
you've been
over-
there
most
four-
of them-
after you've been there 4 years.
Most of them make over $1,000.
Okay.
Most of them make over $100,000.
So reclaiming my time, I go back to the whole fact that, sir, you haven't created a job.
We haven't.
You haven't been there. You haven't.
Sure, we have.
You haven't.
Sure, we have.
Tell me one job that you created.
What are you talking? Like, be specific.
You're
Like,
an
what do you mean?
employer?
No, we're not
You
an
employ
employer.
people?
No, but you know it's funny.
no, then hold on, then
we
that's
create
not creating
opportunity.
jobs.
We create opportunity because we
Sir,
hold
that's not-
greedy CEOs
That's
like yourself
not-
accountable.
You're calling me a greedy CEO.
Oh yeah, you are. You want to attack my salary, I'll attack yours. What
Go
did you
ahead.
make? What did you make when you owned your company?
When I made my company, I kept my salary down at about $50,000 a year because I invested every penny into it.
Okay.
False.
Yeah, well, so look, he says salary. So we don't know, and he also says when I made my company. So I don't know if when I made my company is when he and the single year that he inherited his company, maybe he kept his salary, quote unquote, down at 50,000, but that's not his total income package like it is for working people. Like it is for working people, right? Because we can see from his financial disclosures that way back in 2012, the first year he was elected to Congress, while he's supposed to be working for us, right? He's supposed to be a congressman. He gets salary to be a full-time congressman. $200,000 a year nearly. What was just his salary in 2012? $92,000. $92,000 for his salary. But that's not all of his other income. He reported in 2012 between $200,000 and $2 million in income in 2012, just 2012, from two family companies, Mullen Plumbing Incorporated and Mullen Plumbing West, and another $15,000 to $50,000 from shares he held in a bank. Just in 1 year from non-salary income. So the idea that he's saying, oh, I kept my salary, that's BS. Totally BS. Okay.
All right. You mean you hid money?
No, I didn't hide. Oh, hold on a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, and here he's acting like, oh, you just hurt my pride. The idea, he's right. That's a hit dog will holler, and that hit dog is hollering. That's all that total act was.
Mm-hmm.
You said
All right,
I was out.
we're even.
We're not even. We're not even close to being even. You think it's smart? You think you're funny?
No,
you're not.
You think you're funny.
No, I never said. Did I smile?
You frame
Did I laugh?
your opening
Hold
statement.
on. That's the.
You frame your opening
right.
statement
No,
saying you're a tough
Senator,
guy.
continue.
This
Senator, please
This
continue
is
your
behavior,
statements.
but sir, this is. I think it's great that you're doing this because
Me too.
this shows their behavior on how they try to come in and
No, I-
unionize a shop.
No, it's
and
just-
they say about intimidation, and it's not about intimidation.
This
It's
may
not the
show your
employees
behavior
for.
here. But stay on the issue, please.
The issue
And
is,
really
if
quick,
you're
he
really
says-
for the employee.
He says this shows their behavior when they come in and try to unionize the shop. Yes, yes, union members don't have to quiver in fear of people like him. And that's the thing that he doesn't like. That's one of many things, is that he is not deferential to his feudalistic position at the top of a company. He doesn't feel the need to quiver in deference before his power. And that's what he doesn't want his employees to feel. He doesn't want his employees to feel empowered to be able to speak to him on an equal level. And so when they get disrespected, they can disrespect him. He doesn't want that. He wants to be able to walk all over his employees and have them take it.
Employee, then why are you against right to work? Why are you against private ballots? If you're really about the employee, let the employee make the choice. I'm not anti-union, but when you don't want to have a private ballot, that's not intimidating? That's not intimidating? Why wouldn't you want a private ballot? That is intimidating the employee. If you don't want a right to work state, don't force somebody to pay dues to an organization they may not agree with. Don't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. That's called employee choice. If you want to be part of a union, God bless you, be part of a union. I have no issue with that. But don't sit up here and say that an employee is the one that intimidates their employers are intimidating their employees not becoming a union.
Okay, Senator,
That's not
thank
accurate.
you. Thank you very much, Senator Murray.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this whole hearing is littered with statistics, with individual examples, with cases of how it is factually the case that employees are illegally intimidated by bosses into not forming unions. That is just actual factuals. Facts don't care about your feelings. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. And so the idea that he's acting precious about this is just so infuriating to me. And then trying to compare union collective bargaining, the eradication of right to work, with the type of compulsion and coerciveness that bosses employ in union busting campaigns is insulting to the audience.
Yeah, it's a false equivalence.
And because
100%.
Yeah, and we've gone over right to work several times, but just to have it in this, all that right to work is the government coming into the private negotiations of the workers represented by their union and the employer, and saying you cannot have what are called union security clauses. You cannot have in the employment contract that to be employed by this workplace, you do have to pay representation fees to the union because you get the benefits of the union, so you should have to pay for those benefits. In union states, in union collective bargaining states, that is a clause that can be, doesn't have to be. The workers don't have to ask for it. The employer doesn't have to agree to it. Okay? So it's not mandatory. The government's not coming in these other states and saying, you've got to pay union dues. It's the workers who are saying that that we are as a majority deciding that we want everybody to contribute to our organization for our collective betterment. And these people's argument in any other instance, oh, you don't want to have to pay for clothes for your uniform? Get another job. You don't want to have to pay for transportation to get all the way there? Get another job. You don't want to have to pay for the college education required to get this degree, to get this job? Go get another job. But here, in the one instance where an employment requirement will be to the benefit of the workers' power, they're saying, oh no, we shouldn't have to have this. Workers shouldn't have to have that. Workers should not be able to collectively say, we're all going to, as a condition of employment here, contribute to this organization. Workers shouldn't have that power. Bosses can require whatever they want as a condition of employment, but workers can't impose potentially any condition of employment. It's just absurd.
Yeah, and a couple of things to tease out there is that an agency fee is not the same as being compelled to join the organization, right? If you're paying an agency fee, because that is in the collective bargaining agreement, that is you compensating for the amount of services that you are still going to be provided, should you request them, and for the contract itself. So, no, you don't have to join, but in those cases, you would have to pay an agency fee, right? Because there shouldn't be someone taking a free ride. Yep. You shouldn't get to benefit from the union's work to negotiate a contract. You shouldn't get to benefit from the union every time you get in trouble and you want someone to represent you.
Yeah.
And that's what that's about. But, you know, in right-to-work states, they want folks to be able to take a free ride off the union.
We've got another clip, but we also have Callie from Appalachia in the Zoom. So we're going to get to that in a second, but we're going to go ahead and go to Callie.
Absolutely.
So you just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.